Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Bebop here. Today's video is going to be about Glacial Tarn M3. Now, I did this on the Rosa server last night, and it wasn't the perfect run, but it was good enough. Now, I can show you where we messed up, some problem areas, and everything you need to know about this dungeon. Obviously, watch out for the falling spikes, which my teammates don't know how to do, apparently. Always let the tank go first here. If you're a tank, at the very top where the platform is where you jump off, if you have leaping strike, you can go on the far right and leap all the way down to get a head start. It's the only weapon that really will give you the big boosted head start. Tanks, a lot of times, flail is really good in this dungeon because they will body block you in certain areas. You need to have some movement. And since it is nature week, it is also good to vortex at the end of the fights in case anybody's stuck in nature, and you can unroot them and keep it going. If you're DPS, then Purifying Toast Earring will help you get out of being rooted from the nature with the regen pot. So keep that in mind, and I show the sets and everything, stats, attributes at the very end of the video. The fire buff is only needed right here to bust the ice wall. It does nothing for the enemies right there, okay? Now, you want to double dodge through the shower so you can keep the fire on you. We got to stay hot out here, baby. Ow! Now, these guys will body block the tank a lot. So either Relentless Rush with a great sword through it, or you can barrage with a flail through it. You want to keep the fire on you, DPS, because you want to open this. One of the DPS, usually the Rapier guy, will go ahead and open up the wall. You will skip to the door and ask for the wizard. Hey, there he is. Usually, if I have a fire staff on me right here, I'll hit him with fire staff dots, and then I will zoom it and keep it going. I had a bow on me because I'm so used to running 350 decks in the hive and the worm. I totally forgot to go 350 in while we did this run. But you want to go 350 in as bleed rapier in here. I had a bow on me for the enfeebling poison shot. So if you want to add weakening to a group, that's a really good offhand to use. You want to try to also bring in as much disease as you can, whether it be Bio Bomb, Plague Crits, Plague Strikes. The healer should for sure have Putrefying Scream. And that way you can go ahead and try to keep as many mobs as you can at the disease cap. They will still heal some, but it will help speed up the dungeon. If you don't have any disease, you will be in this dungeon for a while trying to kill the mobs, wondering why the DPS is so low. Now, we still have the fire on us from fighting over there, and we are going to bust this wall down and go in here. Now, void lasers will drop from this boss, so infused void potions can be really helpful here because that void laser hits really hard. Block. Pay attention. Slow down your damage to block. Don't get caught in an animation. You should be paying attention to that. It's better for you just to slow down your DPS to look to see when you need a block than it is for you to just be pressing buttons really fast and getting knocked left and right. After this fight, the spearmen with the 350 strength will go ahead and one tap that, hopefully one tap that orichalcum. Now, I would say most groups, you want to come back and get the fire when you're going through this tunnel. If you are doing just a normal chill run like what we're doing here, we're not trying to speed, we're not trying to be high speed or anything like that. We're just low and slow, baby. No high tech here. You want to have the fire on you so the tank can hit the archers, because if you don't hit the archers right here, they will have the ice buff. If they have the ice buff, they will one-shot everybody, including the tank. Now, if you do res here, you need to keep an eye, see if you're going to get aggro immediately from the archer. If so, you cannot res there. They will have to respawn. You got to move. Right here, this pull, usually going around the left corner is better. Come on, guys. So that way the archers come to you. You should have probably 2 or 3 great axes on that part because you need to be able to pull them in farther. And it's better than having a bow on your offhand. Now, right here, I made the mistake of, instead of going instantly for the res, I tried to weaken and just put some dots down. I should have been really looking around to see if this archer was about to do his horizontal spread with the bow, and I just got destroyed. Now, once we make our way back up top to join the group, the Reaver right here, you want to have anything on you like vines or traps with the musket to try to hold him in place because he does move a lot. He will change the direction of the way he's hitting, so you got to be very careful, DPS, if you're low con, because you can get destroyed really quickly. Sometimes he might have lasers on him also, so void potions if needed. But you want to try to root him as much as possible, or keep him CC'd with the hammer to try to keep him in a stationary place. You can put down a pylon really quickly right here to get the archers and enemies' attention and then run around, or you just get good and run around, save your haste abilities for when you need to move. With the musket, you can do accelerated traps. With the bow, you switch to the bow when you really need to get going. You can get the double haste with switching to the bow for, I think it's like 5 seconds of haste. And then also if you dodge while having the bow at full stam, you also get haste and you can go around really easily. The troll boss fight here is a tough one for a lot of players. You need to have strike protection on your amulet. All right. You will basically get hit when he turns around and slaps you at times, because you will not be able to block them all. That right there. That is not an aggro issue. That is a random mechanic that he just turns around and goes and targets the DPS. He does move backwards quite a lot. If he does a melee flurry at the tank, you can flurry through and go to the opposite side and get knocked real easily, so pay attention. If he does turn around like that, you can block both of those. You will have enough stamina to do so. If you're half bar stam, at least you can get one block. You can take one swipe with the strike protection and you should be fine. Right here, if you're on controller and you aim lock, I'm sorry, you might need to look at maybe setting your controller settings to where you can play like what a mouse and keyboard player plays. I have a video on that a while back. Maybe I can find it again and link it in the comments. But the problem with the lock-on system is that it lowers your camera angle. Having the lower camera angle on this boss fight will put you at a disadvantage of not being able to see the circles, you know, I think more clearly. To me, the outlines is where you need to pay attention to. They did a good job on the, area effect of the icicles dropping, in my opinion, because you can step out right outside of that line and you'll be just fine. So with any of these attacks with the ice waves or whatnot, you want to try to use abilities that have grit. So I use flurry, or I'll use F and F. Try to just dodge roll through the ice circles. And watch out for when he zooms. If you have ranged in this fight, or if you're going to be ranged in this fight, you need to be at the front of the enemy, not behind the DPS, because he will turn and dash through DPS. You will get them killed. This will be one of those fights that's rare where the range needs to be in front of the boss, just shooting toward the head. Don't be behind the boss. Once again, if you are ranged, you will make this fight a lot longer than it needs to be, because he will be zooming. But then again, you will be safer at range, just because if you can dodge his, dashes, you can just sit out there and you don't have to worry about him running or randomly turning around and slapping you. But you want to eventually get to melee, because that makes the fight way more fun. This is my favorite fight in the game. I look forward to it each time Glacial Tarn's around. It is the best fight in the game to me. You got the spikes, you got him randomly turning around, you got the dashing, you got it's just a lot of fun. Now, the last boss fight in this dungeon, I hate. Switch back to your main dungeon set, your nature protection set, instead of your ice and strike set. And now we will be going through the rest of the dungeons. It is still ancient enemies here, so you should have your ancient coatings and ancient ward pots. Now, coming up here shortly, it will turn into human, and I'll point that out when we get there. This mage, you need to go ahead and try to take out quickly. Watch out for the slams. You can all just go straight to the other boss, but as you're learning this, I would say take out the mage first. Then you can bring that little mini boss over there by the gate to you when this boss is dead. And you want to also have vines here. Anything you can to CC the Reavers, because they move a lot. And then if they dash, they will one-shot a lot of DPS. And if your DPS don't pay attention to the Void Blast or the Arcane Blast, whatever the mage does, then they will get one shot also. Disease here is real big. Don't forget, got compost enemies, so you need to have disease on these guys after you kill them. You will see the green healing aura that the enemies drop. It is a light green, or a lighter, more dull green than the sacred or the beacon is. You can see both circles in contrast right there. Now, that ring that's going around one of the players, that is the weakening ring, okay? That's the debuff of the dungeon. So that will proc. If you look at the meter at the top left of your screen, you see how it's slowly going up right above our names. When it gets to the end, it will basically proc that circle on the player with the lowest health. Usually the healer will drain their own health with a void gauntlet to make it proc on them every time, and then they will cleanse the whole crowd or the whole group, and that way you can get rid of the weakening, because when that circle spawns, everybody is put into a weakened state. And until you're cleansed, you go inside the circle and out, you will be weakened, doing a lot less damage, and the healer would be doing a lot less healing. Right here, our tank got one shot. Not really sure what happened there, but it does happen sometimes if the boss slashes you while the other enemies hit you really quickly while you try to taunt. It's happened to me before right there. You just have to try to overcome it. Don't panic. Don't just start hitting mobs. You need to res the tank. When you're resing enemies that are down, you need to look for aggro. Do I have aggro before I res? If you have aggro on something, you cannot res. Don't try. Don't make me come through the screen, bro. But yes, get the fire before you leave this area. This is where you need to switch to human coatings and war pots. Get the fire before you leave there, DPS. I don't care if the tank does or not. You need to get the fire, because if you go up and you fight these enemies, you need to have fire on you, or you're going to do 0 damage or very, very low damage. Now, the mage that's up at the very top of the stairs, you want to have someone, usually the healer, pull them down. You'll line of sight them to come down and join this rest of this group with the dog and the archer. And then when you come up here, you just want to go straight toward the big guy and the mage. Try to group them up as good as you can with the great axe. Watch out for the stomp. Right here, stomp, and then spikes will come up underneath everybody. That's what you got to pay attention to. Try to take this guy out as quick as you can, because he will do a lot of damage. Now, the other mage can also, there it is, the stomp and the spikes. The other mage can also shoot spikes, but it's a lot less common. You got to take the big guy out first, in my opinion. If you get wiped at this shrine, it can be pure hell. It could be the worst shrine in the game to wipe at and try to respawn, because right when you respawn, there's probably an ice spike going to go right up underneath you and one-shot you. Once you kill them without having to run all the way over there to the fire and run back. The reason why I say grab the fire before is because people will run up to this fire and accidentally aggro this whole mob over here. And if you do that, you're going to be in for a hell of a time, because if you wipe at that shrine with all them mobs, yeah, good luck with that. And if you've been there and done that before, feel free to go ahead and leave a comment in the comments and let us know how that went for you. Now down here, you have another guy that will stomp and put ice underneath you with a mage and a dog. So try to take them out and group them up as good as you can. Put as much weakening on them as you can, and watch out for that. If the mage goes up in the air, she will shoot spikes. So you need to watch, because they will one-shot you also. We mowed them down pretty quickly. Didn't have to worry about it. Someone's already got rid of the ice over the sill here. So I'm going to channel this. DPS, you need to have an ice gauntlet on you, so you can put a pylon down on the first button. You're going to skip the whole next mob phase, okay? You're going to put an ice pylon down once the enemy is clear from the far left button, and then that way you can run and join the rest of your crew. The door should be open before the ice pylon disappears, and that way you can go ahead and get to the next part of the dungeon. So, switching to my ice pylon here. He tried to do it with a trap. It is not like Laz. The traps do not work on this. Only the ice pylon works on this. So don't try the traps, or else it won't work. Now you need to be careful right here, putting a pylon here to distract them, because whoever's coming up the trail like myself, they will de-aggro and aggro to me, and then start trying to shoot to me a lot of times if they destroy it quickly. But it worked. So hey, switch back to your main gear. And let's get ready to mow this boss, a little mini boss. This guy is one of the most tanky enemies, probably the most tanky enemy in the whole dungeon. That's not a pure boss. So you're going to need a lot of damage. You're going to need Oblivion down. You're going to need a lot of rent and disease. This enemy has a great axe, so watch out for the little whirlwind that it's doing right there. It's not very painful, but the execute is extremely painful. And when the boss reaps and does the little spin hit, it can one-shot everybody. Which, woo! Good luck trying to see with all the numbers going on the screen. If you feel more comfortable moving the numbers up to the top of the screen so you can see, that would help you avoid the situation right there. Now our tank's just talking a lot of crap to us in Discord, and we got to take it because we're just all over here cuddle buddies now. Warm by the fire. Pick us up, Daddy. Oh Oh man, we all got one shot, baby. So CC on that guy as much as you can, sweep them, do whatever you got to do, touch the shrine before you keep going, and let's hop across the rocks. There's a fire moat to the left over here. Now I wasn't sure if they patched the little skip there, but I saw my buddy going over there, so I'm like, oh okay, maybe they didn't patch this. Boom, you can jump in the lava and just jump straight up. Yeah, you don't have to worry about going back and working your way around. Block the lightning on this boss. Don't try to dodge roll it, just block it. Put down your disease, because when you quickly kill the other two guys, this guy will be healing. You need to have him at disease cap. And you want to watch out for the slashes, obviously. When you knock this guy, do not do an ability like FNF or a sweep or a hammer slam, because you will wake him up. You want to keep him down as long as possible. All right, that was the last enemy before the final boss. Make sure you switch to your final boss set. You should have a slash Amy if you're going to be in melee. If you're going to be ranged, you should be full ice protection. You should have, every DPS should have a ranged weapon on them in this fight. You need to have one main hand weapon, and then you should have a range, because when the orbs spawn, you want to shoot the orbs. Now, the casters around the boss fight, you can get them low health and take them out when the orbs spawn, but it's just a lot to worry about and a lot of time away from DPS in the boss. I wouldn't worry about doing that. They basically are just out there casting. You don't have to worry about them. Just go ahead and DPS the boss down, and when the orbs spawn, he's empowered. Then you need to take those orbs out as quick as you can, because the tank is going to get melee, or he's going to get stam broke, and he's going to take a lot more damage from the empowerment. Healers, the nullifying oblivion does not work on this boss anymore, so don't really worry about that. You want to watch out for the random movements of this boss. He constantly adjusts movements. The tank should have his back toward the big guy so we can all see the hand slaps. So the tank does a good job positioning here. The thing about tanking this boss here, you need to have good communication with the DPS. If he starts pushing you to a way where you know they're going to be put in a bad situation, you need to voice repositioning, and you need to reposition. Now, how do you do that? Well, you can go to another platform if you deem necessary, or when he goes to the middle here, you stand right in front of him. See that little middle circle where the button looks like it's a button in the middle right there? If you stand at the very top of that, I don't know really how to describe it, then you will basically have room to back up as a tank, and the DPS can stay far back and have room to move. If you go too close to this edge, we're going to be in the hands way right there, and we can get slapped, and I wasn't paying attention, so ultimately that's my fault. All right, as I lay there in shame, there will be a ice bomb that falls. If you are ranged, know that that will fall on you most of the time, so you need to be able to take that out yourself if the range or the other DPS aren't paying attention. But the DPS should be paying attention to any ice bomb that spawns and be able to stop DPS on the boss and shoot the ice bomb, because that will go off and really do a lot of damage to everybody in the boss fight. Now, if the bridges are not built and the guy in the middle starts doing the ice storm, you can just simply run and jump across and make it just fine. Okay, you're gonna land on the edge, and as long as you don't get a spike thrown in your back while you're on the edge trying to climb up, I mean, it would never happen to the bop, right? I'm just saying, I've seen it maybe, I don't know. Then you should be just fine. So don't worry about if the bridges are built too much. You get used to jumping across if you need to. Don't panic. You'll be all right. Now, I was rocking stone form in this fight because I'm about 40, or I think I'm 49 or 50 con in this boss fight, light. And when this ice is on the ground and you're taking damage, I just want to be as much fortified as I can. I don't trust this boss, man. The back shots are brutal, especially if you're on the back right. It feels like it's worse than the left, but you want to be directly in the middle. It's very hard to do that right here because we are on the edge, and I'm worried about ice getting shot at us and knocking us off. So I'm willing to take the extra damage here on the right, but it's a dangerous game. This boss is tough. Now, when these orbs spawn / don't appear because of AGS's great coding, then you need to know where they are. You can also ping in the general area, and it will highlight it like you just saw there. That was a really good thing that one of our DPS did, and that made it a lot easier for us to see where to shoot. He's going to do the ice storm right here. You will see us jump across. Like I was saying, we're not going to panic and freak out. Our tank wanted to stay over there because, you know, he loves a good challenge. And, you know, whew, yeah, that bridge was built perfectly in time where he jumped right on it, bruh. Saved your ass, bruh. Now you just want to finish meleeing. Ooh, if you hear that noise that you just heard, you know the boss will probably be lunging at you. You need to try to listen for the boss attacks if your back is toward that big boss, because that lunge right there could have got us just killed. All right, we mowed him down. It wasn't the greatest run, like I said, but it was a solid run. It was good enough, and I hope maybe, you know, pointing out some of our mistakes and decisions will help other people learn. If I just show you a perfect run, then maybe I can't go or won't think of everything I need to say for you to watch out for. And just know not every run is a perfect run. All right, after it shows our score, I will put the gear video up with the attributes and let that play out, and y'all have a good one. Now I'm gonna start off by going over the mutation. Let's look up here at activities, mutation. Let's go down to Glacial Tarn M3. Let's look here. It is nature mutation. The important thing right here in this column is compost. Enemies have a zone upon death, healing enemies that stand in it for 3% health per second. So what does that mean? Well, when you kill an enemy, they're going to drop a little round circle that's going to heal up the other enemies that are inside of it. So you need anti-heal, whether you use bio bomb, plague crits, plague strikes, anything with disease. Pestilence is really good to run in this for, you know, getting the enemies to disease cap. Even if you do get the enemies to disease cap, they still will have some sort of slow healing going on. So this mutation will take a little bit longer than normal. So just prepare for that. If you don't bring any disease in, you're going to be in there for a long time. All right. It can get pretty brutal. You'll see the enemies regen in health, especially the named ones. All right, they do also have festering. Enemies apply stacking disease on hit, reducing incoming healing by 2.5 to 5% per stack. Slicers, enemies cast slicing beams that deal 30% void base damage when touched. So that's be the named enemies. Now it will be some named enemies, and if you want to, you can bring in infuse void, you know, potions or powerful ones, whatever ones you want to bring in. So you can pop those really quick in your hot bar right when the enemy drops that, and that will help you, you know, protect you from taking too much damage. Then we have desiccated. Okay, combustible nature. This is one of the easiest mutations. It's probably the easiest mutation if you ever see desiccated over here to run. Basically, a circle is going to spawn periodically on the lowest health person or the lowest player with health, and that circle you need to run in and then run out of. If you're the person with the circle around you, you need to go and cleanse all the teammates, and then you can be by yourself so you don't chain damage them when the circle ends. Okay, basically everybody's going to have a weakened state when that spawns. Usually the healer will drain their own health with a void gauntlet, and then that procs on them, and then they can cleanse everybody, or people just know the healer's going to have the circle. We go in, we get cleansed, we come out, and then that way we are not affected by it. Now let's look at the overall setup here. Okay, I ran 3 classes when I'm doing this. Okay, you can run a lot more. I mean, if you're speed running, you can get up to 7 or 8 classes. Trust, it's crazy. But let's just go in a very simplistic way of how you need to set this up as DPS. Okay, tanks, you could probably take, I'll throw some stuff out there for you. Healers, this does apply to you also, but you want to make sure you're at 50% nature protection running through the main part of the dungeon. I'm at 51% nature and 6 ice. Now I have that 6 ice because I only have 1 leeching flurry piece, or no, omnidirectional evade piece on this account, because I just got nimble code on this account. And so anyways, that's how I had to use it in multiple sets. But you want to be 50% nature throughout the normal part of the dungeon. On the first boss fight, you want to make sure you have a strike protection amulet, because the troll boss does hit with a lot of strike. Now you want to also be ice protected. Okay, there's no nature dots or anything like that that's going to affect you in the boss fight, so you don't need to worry about any nature. You want to try to be as much ice as you can, and then also you want to have strike, so if the boss turns around and slaps you, you can survive a strike, and then you just block the second one. Now in this set, I am 20.4% strike damage resistant and 30 ice. And then for the last boss set, you want another set. Okay, so this is all basically the same set throughout, but what I'm doing is just switching out the amulet. Okay, The last boss hits with a lot of slash protection if you're in melee. If you're going to be ranged, then you don't need to worry about having a slash protection amulet. You just stick with ice in case he throws the ice at you or whatnot. But I'm going to be in melee, so slash protection, empowered, and health is really good to have on this boss. I am 20. Oh, let me switch to the set here. I am 20% slash damage resistance, 30 ice, and that is what I have now. All right, let's look at the attributes and the weapons and stuff. I did forget my dex food, but I had dex food and then I had con food on me when I was running the dungeon, okay? I switched to con food for the last boss, so when I'm at the last boss set, I was supposed to have one more point than that, but you want to be at like 50 con if you're in light, at least at 50 con. The backslashes on that final boss in Tarn, I mean, it's just crazy. And now they upgraded the damage of the ice that the middle boss shoots at you. So you need to basically have a little bit more con than going 5 con on that final boss. 50 con is a minimum. You could even go into a medium set. A lot of really good players even do medium sets on that final boss. It is a very tough fight. The boss maneuvers a lot and it's just so random. So don't think the tank lost aggro. It's just a weird fight. But normally in the main part of the dungeon and on the troll boss, I will be 5 con. I will 352 int because I'm bleed rapier, 25 focus, 25 strength, and the rest dex. Now the choice of weapons, obviously the finisher is what I'm running right here with disdain infliction. And then I brought in the fire staff for the plague crits. Now what I'm doing is just hitting the fireball every now and then. It's got keen, plague crits, and empowering fireball. I just hit the fireball really quick on the mobs, and then I can do the refreshing or the pillar of fire. And that way you get 2 nice hits, and hopefully one of them crits, you know, enemies in the group, and that way they have reduced healing coming in, okay? That's where you want to bring in the disease. Plague crits reduce the incoming healing effectiveness on the target by 26%. So that's huge, okay? Normally you'll have another person that has pestilence or whatnot in the group, and you have the healer with the putrefying scream on the void gauntlet or whatnot. You should be disease cap a lot, but hey, if you can bring in something that also helps out at times where those maybe a person's knocked or maybe we just don't have everything down, it's just the more the better in that situation. Plus the fire damage does some, or fire staff does some pretty good dot damage really quickly. Make sure you bring in your infused human ward pods, coatings, same thing with ancient ward pods and ancient coatings. It's ancient all the way up until one part, and I'll point out in the video when you need to switch, and that's basically what I'm running. You want to make sure you're on max refreshing, and then you have an enchanted ward on as many pieces as you can. If you're evade rapier or evade bleed, make sure you have omnidirectional evade. Make sure you have a piece with leeching flurry. Make sure you have enchanted ward and all that good stuff. You know the perks by now. And the weapons I've already showed you. I brought in the bile bomb to add some extra disease in case we needed it. Nature, empowered, and health. Thrust damage, hardy, and leeching. And then this is important. Make sure you bring in purifying toast earring throughout the main part of the dungeon. The boss fights you can do whatever, but the purifying toast, when you drink a survival potion, which is weird, a regeneration potion, you lose 1 debuff. Basically, you'll get out of being rooted from the nature when you drink a regen pot, and you want to make sure you do that because sometimes you can get stuck in that nature and you could be right next to the tank and the boss is hitting at you and you can't move. You need to be able to get out of it quickly. All right, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to stop by the stream. I stream Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And you can ask me a question in my community Discord or in the comment section. I'll answer back. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day. Later.